Performance analysis in sports. The aims of this presentation, as stated, are to explain what performance analysis is and how it can be used. The key performance indicators will be covered, as well as how they are used in my project. The way in which I obtained my statistics through GameBreaker and how these can inform the coaching process will be covered, as well as the limitations behind using video analysis, and finally a summary of my key findings. What is performance analysis? The definition displays that performance analysis is all about how the athlete's movement process is recorded and used to inform the coach on areas of weakness and how these can be improved. Performance analysis can be used before, during and after training, as well as throughout different times in the sporting season, including within a game situation. What can performance analysis be used for? It can be used to produce statistics sheets which can feed back points to coaches about their athletes. It can also be used for game review and opposition preview, so that coaches can plan an efficient and appropriate game plan for the next game, and compare this to the opposition's plan, which will provide an advantage before the game. Training can also be filmed and reviewed to improve technique for the performers, as well as looking out for potential new signings. Sports, however, can be very fast-moving, so how is the coach supposed to analyse all factors? In order to carry out all of these efficiently, the video analysis team will have to understand to a certain degree what they are looking for throughout the analysis of the game. Therefore, it is vital that the coach make sure that the video analysis team understands what they are looking for. Key performance indicators. Within performance analysis, there are 4 main key performance indicators. These are technical, tactical, psychological, and physiological. I decided to complete my notational analysis on the Exeter Chiefs versus Harlequins rugby game, focusing on Exeter's performance within the kicking. I decided to focus on kicking within the rugby game due to how it is becoming such an increased part of the modern rugby game, where rugby used to be all about possession and making ground through running. The modern game has developed to promote the importance of gaining ground through accurate kicks to touch. I only chose to look at one performance indicator whilst I was completing my notation, simply because I couldn't focus fully on all 4 key performance indicators at the same time, even with the use of video playback, whilst maintaining accuracy in my results. The main performance indicator I decided to notate was the tactical element of the kicking within the rugby game. I decided to use video playback to obtain my main statistics due to the human limitations that can occur during game coding. These include the way in which some people remember the game, which can provide distorted view of play, for example just remembering the highlights. The attentional focus, therefore people tend to focus on central events rather than the rugby ball in this case. With a wide angle of video recording, the coach can reflect back on play of off the ball. Personal bias. Sometimes when people are in the moment of the game, we unconsciously see what we want to see, which can again provide a distorted view of what was actually going on. Emotion. People often observe the game whilst aroused, which may cause distraction, especially if they become caught up in the moment. And finally, memory. Coaches can only remember about 30% of a game, therefore video analysis enables them to reflect upon anything they missed throughout the game and would like more information on. The statistics I obtained using the GameBreaker software demonstrate the live notation by hand and the coding from after the game using notational analysis software. As you can see from the comparison, the only difference in data is where one of the kicks took place, which in this case supports the use of technology, because with this particular kick it was difficult to identify whether the player was in their 22 metre or within their 10 metre lines. Therefore, with the use of GameBreaker, I was able to pause and replay the kick several times to examine the kick. This view of the statistics displays the correlation coefficient which was calculated, displaying 0.85, which is a value of 85%. This supports that my data was intra-reliable and therefore accurate when notating live by hand compared with after the game with the use of video analysis. If my data had presented less than 85% reliability, limitations would have been clearly present and therefore my data would not have been seen to be fully accurate. These statistics can be used to inform the coach on how often the team are kicking, both within their attacking and defending halves. From the statistics we can see that 6 of the kicks were made in the defending half, compared with only 2 kicks being made in the attacking half. This suggests that the kick can be readily used when a team is under pressure to gain ground and enable ball turnover, especially with such accurate kicks which the players are now able to complete. Compared with the statistics I coded from the England vs South Africa rugby game in 2007, there are a much greater amount of kicks in the modern game than the England vs South Africa game in 2007. This suggests that more emphasis is being put onto the precision of kicks that the players can complete, especially when kicking into touch. For more information of the statistics, see the Excel raw data sheet on the Mahara page. In this instance, statistics can be readily used to inform the coaching process. The statistics I chose to notate can inform the coach where the kicks took place and which type of kicks the player chose to use, throughout a variety of situations. This can also be compared against the points scored in comparison to the other team. The data I analysed can be used to inform the players of their progression through identifying the technical aspects of the player's kick and using this as feedback surrounding the tactical element around the game plan, as well as reflecting upon their decision making, which would be the psychological aspects during the game and the completion of how the kicks are carried out, showing the technical and physiological aspects. Although modern technology and analysis systems can provide the coach and team with a great amount of feedback on their performance, there are also just a few limitations. Players could become robotic. Players could adopt passive attitude, so when using video feedback, players can become passive towards concentrating on their own performance during the session. This can provide problems when looking through the video feedback, due to the possible time delay between when the session was completed and the feedback the performer receives. In this instance, the player may not necessarily be able to remember how they were completing the skill and therefore may not be able to use the feedback fully. Also, the importance of do the players understand why they're using the feedback. If players do not understand the reasons for them being involved in the video feedback, they will not want to undergo this method of feedback as they may not understand the advantages to themselves. The statistics within notational analysis can be misconceived without the appropriate research beforehand. Therefore, this should also be considered. Summary. To summarise, performance analysis and notating of games and training have many advantages to the team as well as to the individual. My key findings within kicking in the rugby game have been identified, as well as how this informs the coaching process.